Thank you for being here on the Right Balance Podcast. Cheers to your tequila, your beer, all the above. Okay, so you're originally Canadian. You're visiting, and you just rented my bike and just cruised California. Where'd you go?
I stuck to the coast mostly, and it was honestly that's the most beautiful road I've ever been on, like all my life. And to do it on that, but your bike is amazing too. But on that bike, on that coast, it was like an incredible trip.
Yeah, and have you done it before, or how did you hear about it? Like, was this?
No, actually. So a friend of mine used the program that we did to rent your bike, and he told me I got to come here and do this trip. So I just looked everything up and found your bike, which is what I like the best. And
Appreciate that.
yeah, I just picked that up and just went with it.
But how did you know to do like California and because you went up through PCH all the way to Santa Barbara, Monterey, which I love all those areas. We were talking briefly about how many people live in California have never been on it. From Monterey down or from LA up, it's just mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling to me because, like, if you know it's there, how have you not at least done it once? Like, it was an incredible trip, and the only reason I knew about it is because my buddy did it in the summer. He came here in the summer and did it and recommended it to me. I extended it a little further than what he did. So your buddy, okay. My buddy, yeah. So he's the one that came down originally.
What's his name?
Shane Shannon.
Shane Shannon. Shout out to Shane Shannon.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, he's a good buddy, yeah. And he recommended this trip, and I love it. Like, I originally wanted to go to ride the coast of Vietnam, but I didn't have the time vacation-wise to do that because everyone says you need more time to go there.
Yeah.
So he's like, well...
Especially when you fly that far and take these 10-hour, 14-hour flights.
And that's what it is, yeah. Whereas here, it's about a 4-hour flight for me to get here and then jump on the bike and good to go. I wish it was a little warmer while I was here. It's a little chilly here this time of year, but...
better than
at home.
Just to justify... Los Angeles, this is actually one of our coldest winters.
That's what everyone keeps saying, yeah, which is
weird because it's only been like 2 weeks where it's been really cold. Yeah. But like that 2 weeks, everybody's like, dude, it's fucking cold.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying it's so cold, but like where I'm from, it gets down to like minus 40. So to me, it's not quite summer, but it's like spring or fall.
Splash?
No, I'm good like this. Thanks.
Yeah, no. I don't know what's going on. It's so cold for us that like shit's falling apart. Like the heater, the hot water is not.
Oh, really?
You know, because we live in a building, and in the building they have like a master water heater for all the units, and it's just not enough to produce right now because it's got to keep up with temperature, the amount of units, blah blah blah.
I could tell it was colder for like the local people because as I'm passing like all the road crews that are doing construction, they're wearing like full-on winter jackets, and I'm riding in a sweater. I got the base layer on, but I'm riding in a sweater. Yeah. And they're working in full-on winter coats, which is...
Well, when you took the bike the first day, you were just like, all right, man, I'll see you later. I was like, what? And you're wearing a T-shirt, and you're like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I might throw on a sweater later or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's not too chilly for me, but it was a little chilly, especially the last couple of days, because it did get down in the 40s. So it was a little chilly.
Yeah. How'd you get into motorcycles? What's your background on bikes? And
so I grew up on, like, I'm from farmland and stuff back home, so I grew up on farms on anything with wheels and engines. And then a few years ago, and like a buddy of mine at work, he's like, I want to go get my motorcycle license. I'm like, oh, that's like I've always wanted it too. Yeah. So it's funny, I actually snuck out of work a little earlier than him, and I went and wrote the test that day. The next day we get to work, I'm like, did you get your test? He goes, no, I didn't make it in time. So I showed him mine. Like, I got mine.
Yeah, done.
I went and bought my first bike. And
what was your first bike?
It was a KTM Duke, the 690.
You still got it, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is, when I got my second bike, everyone was like, you going to sell it or trade it? I'm like, I don't know. Like, but I'm going to keep it for at least a year to see how much I ride the two of them, because they're way different riding styles, and I do like the style of riding on the naked bike. The Duke it's a very comfortable ride. So
what's the other bike?
It's the Harley Ultra Limited
with the custom paint job, the barn shield, hologrammed inside.
Yeah, it's a really nice paint
job. They just did that for Canada, right?
No, it's mostly here. There are only 5 of them came to Ontario. I'm from Ontario. Only 5 of that style that I know of came to Ontario. Yeah, which is like, I went to a Harley dealership in just outside Santa Barbara, and there's 3 of them on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're way more readily available here than they are.
Well, there was a moment, like, I don't know, like 6 months ago, there was a bike shortage.
Definitely, because we had the same thing. When I went in, originally I wanted like almost your exact bike. I wanted the Street Glide with the 117 engine in it. I wanted the the all black out. Like I wanted pretty much the bike that you have. And then I went in because they said like that the bike I wanted the paint job I got on the Street Glide as well. But when I went in, I'm like, can you order this bike? They're like, no, you can't. You can't order this paint job. They've only released so many. Only so many are coming to these dealerships. And they're like, we just got the invoice for and that Street Glide's not coming to Canada, so we just got the invoice for the Ultra Limited, like literally the day I walked in the dealership. And I'm like, well, what does it take for me to like, is it claimed yet? They're like, no. I'm like, well, what does it take to like a deposit? I'm like, done. So I wound up with that bike, and I've put the kit on to make the beer box removable, so it looks more like the Street Glide.
Yeah, the quick detachable kit.
Yeah, which I don't know how much I'll use, but yeah, because I love the look of the Street Glide over the beer box in the back. It's just too bulky.
Yeah, but there's moments you use it. That's how I feel about I got a BMW GSA 2020, and I got these huge bags. One's like a 36 liter, and the other one's 32 or 34 liters. It's humongous. It's good for off-roading because, like, if you like, they're soft bags. So if you drop it, you know, between the cage and the bags, you don't care. But between city riding, it's such a. I mean, the GSA is like such a wide bike, and it looks better without the bags.
That's why I want to keep the KTM, the Duke, is because I ride to Toronto a lot, like downtown Toronto, and that big Harley I think would be a little much to drive through the downtown core of Toronto.
You know, it's funny thing because I'm bringing it up because it's a casual problem. You know, the bikes and the traffic. Yeah. Can you split lanes up there?
No, not legally.
That's so crazy, man. You know, California is the only state in the United States that lets you split lane.
See, I didn't know that. So there's a few times when I came to stop signs and stuff, I just stayed inside behind traffic because, first of all, not my bike. And second of all, I'm not used to lane splitting. So I'm like, I'll just stay in with traffic. But then I saw other bikes.
Yeah, it's the only state that it's legal.
But everyone still does it at home because, I mean, it's not like readily known, but cops aren't allowed to chase bikes in Ontario because it's potential cause of harm to the rider. So they don't usually unless the rider is causing damage or harm to others, they're not allowed to chase motorcycles. So I've watched motorcycles split lanes like past cops, and they don't even care.
Now, is that oh wow, that's because of the experience that you've witnessed it and not happening. But you don't have any cop friends that are like, what are we gonna do?
I do have cop friends.
Aha. Yeah. Done. Yeah. That's the whole reason of this podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, no, it blows me away. But obviously, bike sales in California are ridiculous. It's probably the biggest in the world.
Well, because you can ride here year round, which is like
only 11 months out of the year. 11 and a half.
Which is phenomenal. Both of mine are parked for the winter for me. And it's just not time to pull the snowmobiles out yet. So that's why another reason I came here is I needed to get away, needed to ride. So this was the place to come.
You know, and everybody does. Like, you know, people from Europe, from all across the globe, people come. And this is why I'm kind of happy I started doing this rental thing. You know, I initially started it because I finally got the live wire and I just wasn't riding it. I kind of told you this already, but I just wasn't riding it. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Let me just put it up on the renter site. You know? And it doesn't. I would think that was going to rent the most because an electric bike that's, you know, X amount of money is kind of pricey. That only has a small range. Maybe, you know, that's more of a bike you want to rent. But the BMW and the Harley, I just listed them, and they rent all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's...
I mean, my rentals went down a little bit because I went up on prices.
Oh, okay.
Because there was just moments where I'm like, fuck, you know, some of these rides, you know, you start figuring, you know, you get 5 rentals, 1,000 miles, that's 5,000 miles. I need the 5,000 mile service going, and then the time that it takes me to service the bike and ride this one here and ride there. And it's like, you can't ask anybody to help you. Like, hey, can you ride this bike there and ride that bike there and drop it off at the dealer and pick it up? So now it's like Ubers and drop-offs and the logistics of it. I was like, I have to raise the price a little bit because it just doesn't make sense after servicing and tires and blah, blah, blah.
That makes sense. And I was even thinking, like, while I was riding yours, I'm like, is it tough for you to rent your bike out, like, not knowing that it's a skill set of the rider that's getting on your bike?
You know, in the very beginning, that's very devastating. It's like, fuck, man, like, my baby, my bike, whatever. Like, and FYI, if I was to do this whole concept, like, if I was to buy bikes for the rental purpose, I would keep them stock as fuck. Like, keep it stock, Don't do nothing to it. You know, maybe an exhaust just for shits and giggles, and you know, whatever. But keep it stock. What happens is once you start customizing it and you start personalizing it, it becomes more difficult.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But if you look at just on rider share, if you look at my reviews and you look at how many times my BMW or Harley have been rented out, my ratings are through the roof. But that's not the point. The point is the people renting my bike are all, I don't know how much you make. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how much anybody else makes.
Right.
Okay. But if I'm going to guess, everybody's making $125,000, $150,000 plus a year.
Yeah.
Easy. If you're booking a bike and paying fucking $1,000 for a few days, buying a plane ticket, taking a $90 Uber or whatever from the airport, fucking grabbing this, grabbing that. Oh, I forgot a helmet. I'm going to buy a helmet. Oh, I forgot gloves. I'm going to buy gloves. You know, oh, I need, my boots don't match this jacket. Like, you know, I got people coming from Mexico and Ecuador and, you know, like it's so insane. If you're somebody at that status, you're not worried because the worst case scenario is, oh, my bike fucking crashed or it ate shit. Number one, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Number two, there's like 2-3 insurances covering it.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, there's the insurance you purchase. There's the insurance that the website backs it up just in case. I have insurance on the vehicle. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get a new bike and it's going to take time to like whatever.
Which is, it's funny you say that. So like I'm an avid snowmobiler too. So last winter, a buddy of mine rented a motorcycle. No, sorry, a snowmobile. Didn't even make it. But that's converting to miles. Didn't even make it 3 miles down the trail. Rode off a brand new snowmobile.
Is that 6.6 kilometers?
It is about 5 kilometers. About 5 kilometers. Yeah. So they had to tow it back to the rental place, and they get there, and it's this nice place, and it's got the cabin. And then the guy walks in, and he looks at me, and goes, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." But he goes, "I'm sorry, but your machine, like it's scrapped now." He goes, "Yeah, it happens. Do you want another one?"
Like, yeah, and keep moving.
He looks at him, and he goes, "No, I don't want another one like that." But he's like, he didn't even hesitate, just offered me another snowmobile.
And that's the thing. The thing is that the norm for people's mentalities is like, oh man, you know, I'm going to save up money. I'm going to buy this car. I'm going to take care of this car. Oh, I changed the tire. Like, I'll tell you here, this is a funny story. I turned 18 years old. I got my license late, which is crazy because anyways, I got my license late, but anyways, I'm 18 years old. Go to a dealership. I got like $4,000 to buy a $4,000 car, right? But then they're like, hey, you know, we can run your credit. Maybe you qualify for more and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? Like, oh, geez. Like, okay. So they run my credit and they're like, yeah, we can get you qualified. And they had this 1999 Mustang. And it was I think it was the 95th anniversary edition. So I had fucking ring, the newer body style, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I get the Mustang, red, okay? A few weeks later, I buy rims. I'm like, I want to get the cool rims, you know, because I got the cool body, but I got the dumb rims.
Yeah.
So I find somebody selling some Cobra rims, and I'm like, I want those rims. And he's like, dude, the tires are done. I go, fuck, I don't have the money for the tires until like my next paycheck, but I want those rims. So fuck it, give me the rims. So he gives me the rims. I was working at a cell phone. It was, I think it was Pac Bell or fucking a Singular Wireless, one of those, and Ericsson just introduced the first Bluetooth technology car setup.
Yeah.
Take that. So I set that up. I had remote start keychain, you know, and then I had this Citizen half digital watch and half analog watch. So I would have the key in my pocket and be like, guys, check this out. Ignition on. And people are like, fuck, 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
So, long story short, I'm driving daytime, blah, blah, blah. I get into this accident. I spin. The fucking car gets smashed. I take down like fucking 40 feet of fence. It wraps around and takes down the fence. I hit an electric pole from the back. It smashed the back in so much that the telephone pole was like by my head.
Really?
My seat had smashed back. And I was like, if it didn't hit the back and hit my side,
Done.
Yeah. Anyways, the point of this, I started crying and panicking like, fuck, man, my car. Finally, I made it home. I was like, Mommy, my car. And she's like, oh, as long as you're okay, you want dinner? And I go, dinner? That's all you care about? Dinner? My car? Anyways, I stressed out so much. And then my older brother was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, dude, my car, I'm about to pay for this, and I don't have it anymore. And he's like, that's what insurance is for. And I'm like, what? So that's what insurance is for. They're going to pay it off. And I'm like, what do you mean they're going to pay it off? Like, I fucked up, and they pay it off. And people don't get that. And the point is, another quick story. When Toro came out, you know, the car rental company, you guys have that up there?
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine, he had fucking 3 luxury cars. He's like, I'm going to put my luxury cars. Really? Yeah, I'm going to put them on. So he started putting his cars. Everybody else that had luxury cars, Mercedes and BMWs and, you know, Land Rovers, are like, I'm not going to fucking, like, I paid $1,200. Long story short, after 2 years, he moves to Vegas, buys a house. Now, years later, he's got like 50 cars on Toro. He bought a car wash because he fucking was buying like everything else. Yeah. And he's expanding and growing more on Toro. Or Airbnb. You know, I can't rent my house. It's a stupid mentality. There's people that can't pay their rent, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to rent a room in my house.
Which is a guy that I work with. He uses Airbnb, and he, like, for the first bit, like, lived out of his basement and Airbnb'd his house. But now he's buying a second house and Airbnb'ing both places. I'm like, so that's a lot of assets you've got right there, just for a little bit of sacrifice, for a little bit of time in your life to rent your place out. He's like,
and isn't that every business or every job? Don't you trade your time for money? Don't you trade your space? Yeah. There was a guy I met over the weekend. He just bought a GSA. I took my BMW for service, and I started talking to him. Like, the guy's like had some cool gear, and I was like, that's some cool gear. And he had like a nice bag. I was like, dude, that's a nice bag, you know. And then he's like, oh yeah. So we exchanged numbers, and I was like, he pulled out 2 phones, and he pulled out an iPhone 13, and he pulled out a Fold. And I was like, that's weird, man. I have an iPhone 13 and a Fold, and who has like carries 2 phones? And anyways, the more we talked, it was like he had 3 bikes. I was like, I have 3 bikes, and like, you know, like I like your bag because I have the older version of that bag. Like, anyways, we just kept talking like that. And then he looks at me. He's like, I've never rode a motorcycle. I go, what? You're buying a $30,000 motorcycle and you never rode a motorcycle? He's like, well, because he has the Can-Am. You know, the Can-Am, the 3-wheel bike where there's no gears, the Spider. Yeah, there's no gears. It's just, and then he's got like another fucking smaller scooter, like what, the Groms or something.
Okay, yeah.
So now he bought a brand new GSA, you know, fucking, what was it? The Trophy Edition. Beautiful color scheme. I'm looking at this bike like, this is beautiful. And he does not ride. And now he's like, hey, give me some information on classes and this, that. And I was like, yeah, I'll get you that information. Anyways, I don't know. I was just thinking about that, and I don't know how I got into that topic. But.
Yeah. What's the process to get your motorcycle license in the States?
Well, there's 2 ways of doing it. The one way is practice your written test, go to the DMV, and then do the driving through the cones, which most people don't do. The other option is do the written test, take a class. It's a 1-day or 2-day class, and then after you're done, you get a certificate if you pass the class. You don't have to do the written or the writing test.
And that's full license?
That's full license.
Okay. Yeah. There's an extra step in Canada, yeah. So you get like, they call it your M1 and your M2, and then your full M.
Whiskey?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of weird to mix it up, but
no,
you're not riding anymore. Oops.
Yeah, so they but it's 2 courses. It's 2-day courses. Like when you go, like your M1
but DMV or
you can do both ways actually. If you do the DMV, you still have to do. So you go in to write your M1, and then you go in to the DMV to do a cone test for your M2, and then it's a road test for your final M. But if you do the courses, it's pretty much a guaranteed license, and you do learn a lot in the courses as well, like technical stuff and turns and all these kind of things. So the courses are very helpful to get through, but there's just one extra step for us than there is here in the States.
This is a statement I talk about all the time, almost on a lot of episodes. And this statement that I say is my experience. And how long you been riding?
8 years.
8 years. 20 years I've been riding.
Okay.
This is just a statement. You tell me if you agree, disagree, and why. I believe 95% of motorcycle accidents are rider error.
Oh no, for sure they are. No, I agree. The only thing that I see like a big contributing factor, even on your bike on the way here, which is a very loud bike, I still had a car change lanes into me. So you back off, let them in, and then he saw me after the fact. But like, there is a lot of, I think, it's still a human error, but I see a lot of other, they just don't see bikes for some reason.
Not at all. No, we're invisible.
But yes, I agree. A lot of times the motorcycle accidents are because the riders maybe riding a little more beyond their capabilities.
Yeah, or the bike's capabilities.
That's true
That's
too.
But either or, not always one or the other, but either or. Yeah, and that's what I tell people when they're like, "Oh, loud pipes save lives." I'm like, "Time out."
It doesn't.
Time out. I know what they mean.
Yeah.
What they mean is, in traffic, in heavy traffic, going between 15 and 30 miles an hour when you're trying to force your way through traffic and you're revving your motor, people hear you.
Yeah.
But after 30, 40 miles an hour, the sound's behind you.
Yeah.
Which means it's behind them.
Right.
And they don't even hear you till after you pass them. You know, and that's something that people don't think about.
No, they don't get that. No. A lot of times, because you'll check your mirror, but a lot of time the bike is moving a lot faster. So you'll check your mirror, there's nothing there, and then seconds later, the bike is there, and while you're changing lanes, like you just don't see them coming. I mean, I've had that happen to me where I've checked my blind spot, there's nothing there, and I halfway into a lane, all of a sudden there's a bike there, just because they can carry speeds so much faster than most vehicles can, right?
Well, that's number one accident in LA/California. It's the T-bone. And what's going on with the T-bone? Typical accident. Guy's going to make a left turn. He sees a bike way up there.
Yeah.
Doesn't imagine he's going 60, 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He goes for the left turn. This guy, the bike T-bone. That's the number one accident. And then the second biggest accident is turns. When you're going through the canyons and stuff, people take the turn too wide or too hard, or they don't prep, or they don't have enough brake, and they go over.
Yeah, I can see that, because like, even especially if you're switching bikes, which people probably like to do when when you go somewhere else, you want to try something different, right?
Yeah.
And luckily, I've got the experience on the naked bike and the Harley as well, because if you went right from a street bike or a naked bike and hopped on a Harley, it's a way different riding style. So if you're not used to it and you hop on it and drive right into one of those canyons, you're putting yourself in danger. Yeah,
This is where I brag. This is where I brag, because the Livewire is like a naked bike, a naked electric bike. Yeah. The Street Glide is the Street Glide, and then the BMW is like a tall stand-up, big wide. I can ride. I'm at a point in my life where I can ride either bike through any traffic, split lanes, go through canyons. Like I'm automatically just like, it doesn't make a difference to me. But it's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference.
Like, I said a statement that I wanted to correct myself from other podcasts. There was a statement that I made recently that I said, for the first time in my life, because of LA's traffic, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that for the first time in my life, I feel safer on a bike than a car. And the reason I said this is because the moment you're in a car and there's just somebody that just wants to, like, hey, what are you doing? Or, gets in front of you, or you cut him off accidentally, or you got in front of him accidentally, whatever the case is. Now that guy's there. Like, because you cut somebody off, they didn't disappear.
Yeah.
They're there. And if they're a piece of shit, or they want to act out or lash out, they're going to be on your ass, and you can't do nothing. And if there's an accident on the freeway and the freeway shuts off, you can't do nothing.
On the bike, you can get away.
A motorcycle, you'd be like, oh, dude, this guy's crazy. Let me get away. Yeah. You can avoid that. And then what I want to correct from that statement is, with my experience, with 20 years of riding, I feel safer on a bike than a car. Not that everybody should get, because some people are like, what? That doesn't even make sense. So with the right experience, I see a bike being more beneficial than driving a car.
Yeah, especially because I've also noticed, like, in the States, your cities are a lot. There's so many that are closer. Like in Canada, where I'm from, like, your next nearest city is a couple hours drive away. Whereas here, they're just down there. Like, you're more populated for bigger areas down here, which is, so your highway systems, they get crowded very quickly.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's a guest I had on the podcast. He does fun facts about Los Angeles. He just did a fun fact on. You see, LA, downtown LA is like 3 million, but the county is 10, 11 million.
Oh yeah.
And he just did a status on just the Valley. So this is considered the Valley. The Valley's like number 12th most populated city in the U.S.
Really?
So LA's is one of the most populated cities in the world, and then next to it is the 10th, 11th, 12th most populated city in the world. So you're right. Every city you go to, it's just more and more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, because as he left LA and then he went through the Valley, but then I went through like Malibu and then Oxnard.
Well, you went 101. How bad was it when you left here and went up 101 past the 405?
The 101 was horrible. Yeah, it was slow the whole way. And then I got off what's the name of that canyon? Topanga. I went down there into Malibu, and after that, traffic opened right up. But yeah,
you know why they call the 405 freeway the 405, right?
No, why?
Because you're on it for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
You're going 4 or 5 miles per hour.
It was slow, and it was probably rush hour on Friday when I took off too, right? Like it was around like midday Friday.
Yeah. And when you go on the 210, when you go east, like to Vegas on Fridays, I mean it's a 7-hour drive. From a 4-hour, it's a 7-hour drive.
Just because it's so many people, right? I've traveled a little more like over the last little bit, the next few years too, than in the past because I'm like, why not? Like life's too short. Enjoy it, and seeing different places. It's incredible what you can see when you go to different places. Yeah, like I said, so I'm skiing in Western BC in a few weeks, and then I'm going snowmobiling for a week in like northern Quebec, in Canada for a week towards the end of February. And then towards the end of next year, I'm actually going to go. I'm hiking Machu Picchu there in Peru, which I'm pretty excited for that one. That one will be fun too.
That's going to be intense.
And I'm hoping because we're there for 10 days, so you're then like camped all over the place. I'm hoping to find a place there where I can rent a bike too at some point and just go for a ride.
And may I ask what you do for work? It gives you this kind of schedule and freedom.
So I'm a construction manager. So I manage the company I work for does high-rise glass all over North America, which is pretty cool too. Because like with the company, I've lived in Texas for almost 2 years. I was in Washington D.C. for almost a year. I've been in Florida on and off for a few months. We're actually looking at a job here in California. I might have to come back in a few weeks to go take a look at a job here downtown LA.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good. I started off like very low in the company and just stuck with it and worked my way up, and it's paid off for me. And I get 3-4 weeks vacation a year to just go and travel and do whatever life brings your way.
Yeah. Random question. I just read an article yesterday that Texas is going to freeze right now because the temperatures are dropping and they're kind of not prepared for that. Being Canadian, what are some of the problems you see, and being in construction, what are some of the problems you see that are causing that?
It's a different world if you're not used to it, because we're used to it. So we just salt everything, or we have heaters everywhere and stuff to keep everything warm. Which is funny was that when I was in Texas, they had an ice storm come through when I was working there, and I'm on the job site with a few other guys that are from Canada, and we're sitting in the parking lot. And there's nobody else there, and we get a phone call from everybody like, "Oh no, the job's shut down." We're like, "What do you mean the job's shut down?" Well, because the ice, nobody can get in. We're like, "Well, we're here." So we just left and we went back. But like everything there, when it gets cold, like when it freezes like that, which is understandable. It happens once every 5-10 years. They just shut down.
I think last year when everything froze because the pipes froze and they busted.
Yeah.
I think they didn't have anything like that since like 1988.
Okay, yeah.
And now this year's heading
back that way. And we were there one day, and it got down to around I think it was less than 30 degrees. And our workers are calling us because we use like mini cranes and stuff for installation. And they call us and it's too cold. Our crane is frozen up. And we're on the phone with them. I'm like, you're lying to the wrong person, right? Like, what do you mean? Like, I've used this machine at -20 before. It's not frozen at 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just because they were too cold and they didn't want to work. So they're trying to blame the equipment. It's too cold for the equipment.
Don't they have heaters inside?
Not so much Texas. No, because they're not.
Well, in the cranes.
Oh, no, it's just, it's such a small crane. It's operated from the exterior. It's just like a handheld.
Yeah.
Remote, you take, yeah.
So it was all user error.
Yeah. But it was just too cold for them. I'm like, look, guys, if you don't want to work because it's too cold, go home. But don't blame the equipment because you're lying to the wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in Ontario, you guys get like good 2-3 months of like fucking ice, like almost miserable in a sense. No,
You got to learn to enjoy it. Like for me, I love Canada because I love all seasons. Like I love the winter and I love the summer. Like in the winter, I snowmobile, I skate, I ski, I snowboard. I do anything you can do in the winter, just because I enjoy doing it. So if you find the enjoyment in it, it's fantastic. But a lot of people that don't like getting outside in the winter, they are miserable. They complain. It's cold. It does suck to work outside for an 8-10 hour day.
It's a special person.
Yeah.
To get to like it. Like,
yeah.
You would have to admit that.
Yeah, I know. Yes, there's not many people, maybe 10% of Canadians actually get out. I mean, maybe more, but like get out and actually play or skate or ski and do stuff like that in the winter, because it is cold and it is uncomfortable, but learn to enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I like snow for 2 days. For 2 days. And I like it even more watching it. Like if I had snow here and watching it, I'd be like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. And I don't mind skiing, but like if I could ski where, like I was in Dubai, and you've heard about Dubai, the snow place, right? In the mall.
They've got the biggest interior ski hill, I think, in the world.
Yeah. With a lift.
Yeah.
It's got a lift.
Yeah.
And then it's got a village.
Yep.
On the bottom, there's a village for kids, and then you bring in your kids. They suit them up, and they play. All right, I'm gonna go shopping.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Zara, Victoria's Secret, Hugo, whatever the case is, and you go shopping. Do it, and your kid's playing in the snow, in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
In the UAE.
It's probably like 25 degrees where the snow is, and you step outside, and it's probably 90, 100 degrees.
Yeah, it gets there.
Yeah.
It gets there. Fucking insane. So that to me is fun.
Yeah.
And then after that you go to the other mall. That's the Mall of Emirates. The Mall of Dubai's got an aquarium, and the aquarium, you can walk inside of the aquarium where the fish are surrounding you, and then you can walk around the aquarium and you can look at the fish, and then you can take a boat on the aquarium.
That's pretty
and
cool.
Look at the fucking sharks. You want to jump in? We got scuba gear. You could jump in the aquarium.
Really?
And then as you exit, there's a fucking zoo with like bats and owls and tigers and leopards. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, this is exiting the aquarium. And when you exit that, you're back in the mall. And there's a fucking GameStop right in front of you. And then down the hall, there's an ice skating ring.
I'd like to see Dubai. Dubai does things pretty extreme.
Dubai's fucking... Look, I'll tell you the funniest moment I had in Dubai. I went a few times. And there was one time that I went, and we're looking. So the Burj Khalifa is the largest building, the tallest building in the world. And now there's other families making stuff that's even taller, whatever.
Because it only beat out. Toronto had the CN Tower, which is the tallest for the longest time. Like it was only beat out.
But Iran then beat it with the Kingdom Tower.
Yes, yeah.
And then Dubai beat it with the Burj Khalifa
Within like a couple of years, like
quick. So quick. And they, and the crazy part is they did it with. It's the tallest building in the world. And I think it cost only $1 billion to make.
Because they can get their labor so cheap. Yeah.
Because they get their labor so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand what a big deal that is. But, like, just to put in perspective, they just built a Resort World, I think it's called, in Vegas. The new casino they built out there in front of the Wynn. They kind of look like the Wynn, and then they sued them. They said, you can't look like us. You have to be different. They built that, and that thing, a casino, whatever, like, a decent sized casino, it cost like $6 or $7 billion, where the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world, and it cost $1 billion because of labor laws. And now they're building another family. That's the Amar family. Now there's another family building Creek Tower, but that one's not a building; it's a tower because it's going to be suspended like on cables or something over the creek. And they said that's going to be the biggest structure overall, and that will be done like in 2025.
Really? Isn't Dubai building like this mega structure that's like a wall right now?
Yeah, I think it's called the Wall.
Well, yeah, because I saw they've actually started construction on that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The amount of resources it takes to build.
They got it. They're building man-made islands. You saw the World Island,
yeah,
right?
I saw. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the stuff they do is just, it's incredible.
Yeah, my brother was in the he was in the Navy, the USS Abraham Lincoln. aircraft carrier, and he did 2 or 3 trips where you go out for 6 months, and they went to Dubai. But this was like in '97, and he has pictures of Dubai. I mean, you can go online and find pictures.
And it's nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, man. I keep bringing it up, but it's like the safest country in the world. It's where all the money's at.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's weird to go to a country where everybody has money and everybody wants to invest and everybody wants to do something versus where you know, like just an example. In America, there's people that have money, but it's a lot of old money.
Yeah.
So they want to be conservative. They want to protect the money. They don't want to invest the money. They don't want to try things out. So when you start a business and you want to look for opportunity or investors, it's hard. In Dubai, it's like, I think in 2018 or 19, they spent $55 million on influencers. They were like, here, we'll fly you in, post it, record it, we'll pay you money here. Just do it. That's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Family-wise, it's good schools. Yeah, that's the mail. There's a Amazon mailbox thing behind this wall. So that's the...
Gotcha.
And this is why I have this time slot like blocked off on my side. Like this and Wednesdays. Wednesdays there's a fucking garter. What's your goals? What are you looking at? What are you gonna do in 5-10 years? Do you have goals, or you're just living life day by day?
To be honest, right now I'm just living day by day. It's just see how things go. Like I obviously there's some stuff like I want to do like living wise. Like I'm looking to like property and stuff in Canada right now is through the roof. Like where I'm from,
Everywhere.
it's insane.
Everywhere.
So I'm looking for like a few acres, and I want to build like a shop with a loft in it.
You said acres.
Acres. What do you guys call it here?
Well, no, it's acres.
Acres.
But like nobody can imagine to even buy acres in LA.
Well,
impossible.
So like where I'm born and raised, my parents own 100 acres.
Wow.
My parents live on 100 acres back home. So that's where I came from. And I moved closer to the city, not into the city because it's too crowded for me to like live in those areas. But yeah, I want to like between 2 to 10 acres to build like a big shop with some, dirt bikes and stuff and just have fun and build like a live-in loft inside the shop. That's like what I'm looking to move into now. But like in the area I've got that I want to move to, there isn't even land for sale because of just how crazy the market is right now. It's nuts.
No, Wait. It's going to drop.
Yeah,
2023 is going to be like messy.
I'm not in a rush. I'm just taking my time until hopefully things work out.
You're not Russian?
No, not Russian.
Can you see Russia from Monterey? I'm kidding.
No, you cannot see Russia from Monterey.
What was your favorite experience, like your top notch experience from this ride that you just did? Because you today's Monday, you rented on Friday.
Yeah.
What was the highlights, the biggest highlights and tips, and what would you advise yourself if you were to redo it?
Honestly, that coastal highway was definitely the top. But you can
the
go
PCH.
from because you're like all of a sudden you're at sea level looking at the water, and then literally 5 minutes later you're 700 feet up looking down at the ocean, which was absolutely incredible. Tips I would give out, which maybe my buddy didn't have when he did this road, would be watch out for rockfall. Because it's even though it's just small pebbles and stuff, and on your bike, twice I had the tail end jump a little bit because I hit pebbles going around turns.
Yeah.
So you've got to really keep an eye out for that stuff when you're going around those turns because it could be fatal. Like that's And I saw that the whole there's crosses all the way along that trail where people have definitely gone over and stuff has happened. So you just have to just be aware of what's going on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the trip was good. I stayed in a very nice resort in Monterey. Monterey is a very nice place as well. To be honest, I wish I had a little more time to spend in the locations where I went to versus because most of my time was spent on the bike, that's what I was here for. Yeah. But if I had more time, it would be nice to spend time in.
What resort did you stay in Monterey?
Monterey Plaza. Hold on, I got it.
Palazzo?
I took a picture of it the resort so I could figure out how to get back to it. No, not that one.
Yeah, Monterey is such a great place. The thing was, the reason I wasn't a big fan of Monterey when I lived there, it's because I was like in my 20s. And it's like everybody knows everybody. So if you dated somebody, everybody knows you're dating them. And if you break up with them, everybody knows you broke up with them. And if you date somebody else or their friend, everybody knows you're
really?
Oh, it's like small town.
Yeah.
Did you find out the name?
The Monterey Plaza Hotel is where I stayed.
Yeah.
It's a very nice place. Yeah.
Did you pass by the aquarium?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, they have a nice aquarium. Clam chowder?
I got in there towards the end of the day. I saw that. So when I went downstairs, I'm like, where's a good place to eat? And she told me all these amazing places. And I like whiskey and stuff like that. So I'm like, where is a good place for whiskey? And she's like, oh, there's the whiskey club downtown. You've got to go there if you like whiskey. I'm like, do they have food? She's like, nope. I'm like, well, okay, is there somewhere close to there that has good food? And she told me to go to Monterey Brewery, which is great beer and great food. So I went. Yeah. That's what I did that night. I went there and to the whiskey club. And but yes, I did. I wish I had more than just like the night in that location. Yeah.
Fun fact, Carmel, right next to Monterey, is the Clint Eastwood was the mayor.
Really?
Of Carmel.
Okay.
And rumor has it he was the last person to ever get a concealed weapons permit to have a gun in Carmel, Monterey.
Really?
Yeah. Again, those are the rumors of living in Monterey, but that was pretty well known.
Yeah.
And then there's another part in Carmel. Carmel's really nice area, really nice. But there's a certain part where the Spanish were, and they have like their streets are made out of stones, and they have a no high heel law or regulation for females, so they don't fuck up the historic.
Oh, so they don't. Oh, really? It's not for their protection. It's for the protection of the road.
No, it's for the protection of the road to conserve it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No. The Central Coast is fucking beautiful.
Oh, it is. Like if I do wish I had more time. I would have loved to have made it into San Francisco for a day too.
Oh, fuck. San Francisco is a shithole right now. I used to love. Like, you know, Dean Martin has that song, I left my heart in San Francisco. Yeah. But, and that's how I left San Francisco. But now, fuck, man, it's a nightmare. There's an app, it's like a feces app of when you walk, there's like human feces on the floor and you have to report it so the city cleans it up. And when you go on the app, you're just like, the whole fucking city's buried in fucking shit.
Really?
Like, oh, it's a nightmare.
Which is like, I've been to New York City.
I've been to New York. Like, it's not.
Great city, but it smells horrible. No matter where you go, that city has a bad smell.
Yeah. There's parts. I've been to India.
Okay.
And India's, you know, I expected it. You know, I went with my classmates. We went for our international trip, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is gross." And it's like, "Oh my God, we kind of expected this," you know. So I kind of like accepted it for what it was. Yeah. And then we passed by the slum areas and stuff like that. But New York, there were some stinky areas. There are some stinky areas. I guess it depends on the time of year that you go to.
Yeah, it could be.
Because in the summertime, I'm sure, because of the heat and the humidity, it's going to be gross. And then in the fall, it like cools down. And then the winter, who cares? It's all covered in ice anyways.
Yeah.
When'd you go? Summer?
Late summer, yeah. Yeah, so it was warm when I was there. So that's,
the
smell is the worst. But it's funny, like, because you said the slums and stuff. Because when I was in Texas, I was living in a very nice neighborhood when I was in Texas. But you could drive like 10 minutes down the road.
What part of Texas?
Well, I was in like Galveston, like south of Houston.
South of Houston, okay.
And you could drive short distances and find people living in like tin houses because it stays so warm. They don't need insulated walls or anything like that, so they can live in
because of the human heat.
Yeah. So it's funny to see somewhere where people can live literally in nothing because, which is also the other thing. Like I've noticed in some neighborhoods, you can tell people put more money into their vehicles than they do their house or where they live. Like their driveway is like a pristine concrete driveway where you can pull in and park your cars, and they live in a shithole house. But they're driving like a Lamborghini, but have like a house that probably cost them $10,000.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah.
My grandfather had an expression or saying something like that, and he would tell me, he goes, during my years, people had to invest in a nice suit to get a nice job.
Right.
You know, nowadays people have to invest good money into their car to get a good job.
Yeah.
Because that's what gets you to the job. That's what allows you to expand to different jobs. You have a nicer car. People are like, hey.
Which is so, to that point, so I just got a new truck. And where I'm from, I grew up on farms. So, like, I can't not own a pickup truck. But I went in, sure, a little bit more, yeah.
Why not? You're not driving.
I'm not driving. My flight's
Or
later.
riding.
My flight's later. So I went to the dealership to look at my truck. And he's like, what are you looking for? I'm like, to be honest, this is what I want. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, this will be the price. And I went home and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's a very expensive truck. It's a couple thousand more than, you should be spending on a truck. But then I'm thinking, like, I put a lot of miles for work. I put a lot of miles on my truck. I'm in my vehicle a lot. I'm like, I'm probably in my truck more than I actually spend time, like, in my house versus sleeping in my house. But, like, in my house, I'm probably in my truck more. So I'm like, I'm going to get what I want to drive to work. Like, why not? Like, it's where I spend most of my time. And it's what everybody else sees is the vehicle I'm driving. So
yeah. You'll have friends for years and years and years. They don't see where you live.
And I haven't seen one of my trucks down here. I don't know if it's popular down here. So it's a Chevy Trail Boss is my truck.
Yeah. I've seen the Trail Boss.
Have they been down here? Yeah. Because actually what I've noticed here is Tacomas. Tacomas are everywhere down here.
There's people are very satisfied with Toyota's durability. Well, I'll give you an example. You look at the Toyota fucking, what are they called? Land Rover, like the Toyota what that are in
Highlander?
Africa? Highlander?
Yeah, I think it's the Highlander.
I think it's Highlander. 300, 400, 500,000 miles.
Yeah.
So people, the workforce, has a tendency of buying that because they're like, okay, I'll give this to my kid, especially like in the Hispanic market.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal.
Well, and like in this region, your vehicles last a lot longer time-wise because for us, we have to deal with, we salt the roads.
Yeah.
Listen
to this. People don't know this. Listen to this.
Yes, we salt our roads, and it destroys
salt
your
the roads. What does salt the roads means?
So,
because of the ice.
Yes, because the roads get salty and icy, so they put down a salt or like a liquid-based chemical that keeps the ice and snow away. So you get better traction and stuff with your vehicle, like with your tires.
It's a safer way of maneuvering the vehicles on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But that gets kicked up in the wheelbase and it starts deteriorating.
It really
rusts up everything.
Really makes your vehicles rust fast.
Yeah.
So your vehicles corrode asphalt.
So that's what happens in like Canada or places where there's a lot of snows or Ontario.
Yeah.
Then in the East Coast, what people don't realize is in the East Coast there's a lot of flooding. There's a lot of humidity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. So underneath the cars, they get fucking shitty.
Yeah.
So this is something that people don't comprehend, and this is why I'm taking advantage of this point.
Oh, it's great.
The California fucking cars, it's always better. Like when people are like, well, I want to buy a blah, 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 but in New York, they have one for like $8,000 cheaper. And it's like, hold on.
It's going to be.
It's been flooded.
Yeah.
It's been rusted. Yeah. It's been in snow. It's been the salt. It's been the humidity. There's so many more forces involved in the value of that car that people don't cooperate.
Well, I've passed vehicles here that I've recognized are like 20 years old, and they still look like they're in pristine condition.
Yeah.
Whereas at home, you don't see them unless it's a classic car or like a car that somebody wants to last long because then it's parked in a garage in the winter so it doesn't cease. Like there's people like in Canada, if you have a car or even like a motorcycle and you value it,
it's garaged and a heated garage.
Yes, it's in a heated garage until street cleaners come out and clean the salt and debris off the roads in the spring, and then once that's done, then you'll take your car out.
But that's like, just for shits and giggles, what is the cost to install a heater, run a heater in your garage, and wait for the street cleaners to come and do that stuff? How much extra is that actually costing somebody?
It really depends. If you're doing it just for like a basic garage, it's a few $1,000s for like the setup. Most places it's natural gas to run the heater, but a lot of places now, like the heat in your garage is run through the heat in your home. unless you have like a separate shop to run your heat. And then you're looking at like, if you have like a fair size shop or garage to store your vehicles and toys, the installation and setup, you're looking at minimum $10,000 to run it throughout the winters, $2,000 a winter to run the heater.
It's a big investment.
It is.
It's a big investment.
Yeah.
And let's say you have a $15,000 motorcycle. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense financially, whatever the case is. I mean, people are doing it. It's probably more common now because of technology and installation and whatever. It's more competitive markets, but it's still a big deal.
If it's like a garage attached to your house, it's very simple to just loop it into the heat and stuff that goes through our homes. So it's not a big deal to set it up that way in your home garage.
Yeah.
If you have a detached shop, that's when it starts getting expensive.
Yeah, no. So that's something that I tell people, like, be careful where you're getting a car from, and that's where the CarMax experience and the Carfax, of like, oh, this is an East Coast car, out of the country car, because our car, you're right. I'll give you another example. My nationality, I was born in the U.S. My parents are from Cuba.
Okay.
All right, Cuba's like, oh man, Ontario and Canadians go to Cuba a lot.
Yeah, I've been to Cuba.
Have you? Yeah, you see. It's so funny because everybody from Ontario or Canada has been to Cuba. Pretty much that I've met. Not everybody.
Because
I know the package deals.
It's so cheap to go there.
I know. What's funny is that there was a time that the cellular service to call Cuba, the reason it was so expensive is because the U.S. satellites would connect to the Canadian satellites, and the Canadian satellites would go to...
Our cell phone coverage is way more expensive than here. We pay... Mine's a company
like
phone.
Your daily
cell phone in Canada is 6 or 7 times the cost it is here in the States.
Why?
I don't know.
I feel like my 3.5-year-old son. Why?
Like, so not to like, but like, what does like your phone cost you for a month?
Right now, I have 5 lines plus 2 Apple Watches, which is considered a line. So 7 lines. It's like $360. Everything's insured.
There's not that that's higher in Canada, but there's people in Canada that pay that for like one phone a month.
$360.
That'd be like $300 a month for
whatever. $200 a month for. Wow.
You're not getting the top of the line iPhone in Canada for under $100 a month. It's not happening.
Because they're financing their phones.
They finance the phones. And the packages you're
well, yeah, but that's different. But how much is the service?
It's still expensive. Like even
because every phone is like what's crazy is there's one time a year to trade in your phone, and when you trade in your phone, like the Black Fridays and stuff like that, the trade in, like I got this phone. This is an $1,800 phone.
I've never even seen that phone before.
Actually. Oh, dude, this is amazing. Like this is full functioning phone here. And then it pops open into a tablet, and then you have your apps, and like it's got a fucking stand, and this is with a case. It's got a 50 times zoom that I have a picture.
That's Samsung, that one, right?
This is Samsung, yeah. Let me see if I have this picture, because this is fucking insane. This is insane. Oh, don't tell me I deleted it. I have a picture of the moon. Like I was like, oh, the moon. Let me try this out. I zoomed in. This is 50 times. They have another phone that's 100 times. I zoomed in, and it was like, whoa! You could see the craters. Like, like it's insane.
Well, and Samsung, their cameras, I think, are ahead of Apple. They're
look. This is a downtown view. Just like, here, just for shits and giggles. Let's see how that comes out on the camera.
Yeah, that's a great view. Like that camera's incredible.
It's incredible, and this is not even their best one.
No, it's not.
Like I said, I mean, this is their newest fold phone, but look, it's a folding display. I mean, sorry for all the fingerprints, but it's a folding display, and it feels great in your pocket. Look, this is the 13. This is the regular one, and look how durable it is to open up.
Yeah,
that's a 13. You have a 11 or 12?
No, I don't even know what it is. Whatever the company.
I'm just looking at how many cameras you have.
So I think
that's 2 cameras.
I think it's the 13, but it's not the Pro. You got the Pro.
Oh yeah. That's the 13. Yeah.
I think it's the 13, but not the Pro.
Yeah. But to type on it is amazing. To watch YouTube video clips, to go to the gym, just post it up. Just like I have a new thing where it's like, I don't fuck around with TikTok.
Okay.
The only time I mess around with TikTok is when I'm on the Stairmaster or a treadmill and I'm doing cardio, and 30 minutes, 40 minutes goes by so quick, especially with something like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so does like TikTok come up like full screen? You can just flip through TikTok?
I just
really?
Yeah, it's
That's
mad.
pretty cool.
It's mad. And then you fold it up, put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now the ecosystem for Apple is what really fucks me up, but this is like, I want to show you something. Like when I do notes, actually Apple just released Freeform, which I started messing with. Freeform's pretty amazing. Have you fucked with that?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh man, for note taking, there's like, you can go on YouTube and find out how to use Freeform. I did that, and it's pretty impressive. But like Notes is becoming way better on something like this, where you can write and just, there's a stylus. It's this is like, I don't know what's more futuristic than this.
So my kids are 4 and 5, and they can navigate tablets and iPhone stuff better than my parents can.
4 and 5 now. I'm talking 12 years ago when iPad wasn't even that good.
But even now, they can still navigate.
Oh, now they're pros.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? They're experts at this shit.
That's crazy.
Anyways, we did an hour.
That's good.
We had some drinks. We had fun. I'm happy you shared your experience. I'm happy the bike worked out.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible experience, and I'm happy to be on the show. Like it's been a great trip all around.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.